column, week 3 underway, and it's a W for the Niners in Santa Clara. A 3-0 start to the season for those 49ers, and it comes really in convincing fashion here on Thursday night. Short week for the Giants, who stayed out west. Comported themselves well in the first half, but maybe some of that lactic acid was built up in the second half. Attrition sets in. They were outgained in this one, 441 to just $150 in terms of total yardage. The Niners possessing the ball for nearly 40 minutes of this contest. All right, let's get into it. Emory Hunt in studio to break this one down. Emory, interesting ball game here. Really was impressed by the Giants with the first 30 minutes, and then sort of the attrition of the moment did build up in the second half. But let's talk just here surface level about Kyle Shanahan's coaching, the job he does on a short week, and the physical team he trots out there. Seems like this is a team that looks at those types of moments and almost welcomes them, where other teams come into them short week talking about it, thinking about it, and feeling it.
Well, football is an easy game, Joe, and you know this, because it's about keeping the main thing, and when you're having a team coming in on a short week, hey, let's just stick what we do best. Run the football, great open field tackling team, get off the field, make things happen on defense. And even if our quarterback isn't playing particularly well, let's just play the field position game. We'll punt the ball, make them drop the length of the field. They really play fundamentally sound football on a short week against a team that came in depleted with some guys out on offense, but they did so in an impressive fashion. How you coach it up, and this is how you move on to next week and play better football.
CBS NFL writer Tyler Sullivan in with us as well. T-Sol, interesting ball game, as we said here. Kyle Shanahan always going to have his team prepared, but Emory, you touched on something there. The quarterback play of Brock Purdy left a bit to be desired in the first half, but seemed like machine learning in the second half. Got better with every rep. What did you make of Purdy's performance?
Yeah, I think it's right on there. I think it was a little bit clunky to start, a little bit off target, kind of what we saw last week as well to start the year as well. Just a little bit out of sync, but then you get to that second half, and again, when you have Deebo Samuel, when you have Christian McCaffrey, when you have George Kittle, your life is made a lot easier. And that last touchdown throw that he threw to Deebo Samuel, I thought was his best throw of the night, only where his wide receiver could get it. And again, you're not asking Brock Purdy to beat Patrick Mahomes. You're not asking him to will this team to victory. He's asked to make the reads and put the ball into the hands of his playmakers like Christian McCaffrey, Deebo, and George Kittle. A lot of the plays that we saw were at or around the line of scrimmage outside of those big plays towards the tail end in the second half. Some of the times you could just give the ball to Deebo at the line of scrimmage on a screen play. Same thing with Christian McCaffrey, and those boys were ripping off huge gains. So again, you're not asking too much of Brock Purdy like they were last year, but they're still able to come out with wins because he's not losing them games.
It does seem like there's some stuff we did not see last year out of Brock Purdy. On top of, yes, those intermediates that he's been doing great with his entire career, but we just saw a throw outside the numbers on time there, the late deep ball to Deebo in a beautiful spot. How has Brock Purdy impressed you over these first few weeks of the season? Do you see a quarterback that's getting better over time, one that can eventually, dare to say it, be a Super Bowl winning quarterback?
Well, that's the question, right? Because I feel like when you're watching this game, you're kind of looking toward the past and say, hey, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo makes that throw. Maybe Jimmy G can still provide some success here. But with Purdy, it's like, hey, as long as he's able to go out there and hit his free throws, which is what we didn't see Daniel Jones do at times, or other quarterbacks do at times. And maybe we just don't need to have him be dynamic, but I still feel like he is the big question mark on his offense. They're elite at certain places. We talked about this in the pregame, where you have an elite running back, fullback, tight end, wide receiver, offensive tackle. So you have elite players on offense. You can just be decent but not turn the ball over, which he didn't, which is a great thing for him. But he is still going to be the question mark. He's going to have a game where folks say, okay, they shut down Christian McCaffrey, they shut down Deebo Samuel. We made Brock Purdy beat us throwing the football to other targets, and he's going to have to prove that he can. And that's the biggest question I have about San Francisco moving forward.
Yeah, I'm with you, Emory. I think that that's a huge question of what happens when they take everything away. But again, that's easier said than done. If there's a team out there that can take away Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle, I'd love to meet them because I don't know if that exists right now, especially with the developments today in Dallas with their injuries that's going on in their secondary with Trayvon Diggs going down. But you're right. If Brock Purdy is able to be that Super Bowl winning quarterback, I would like to see a game where he does go toe-to-toe with one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL on a throw-to-throw basis. I just don't know if he's ever going to have to. I think that he's on a team right now with the San Francisco 49ers in Kyle Shanahan's system where he's not going to be asked to be that guy, be that dude to just will his team to victory. As long as, like you said, as long as he makes those layups and he makes his free throws, I think that this team is the best team in the NFL. It's certainly the best team in the NFC, and they have Super Bowl aspirations, especially if everybody stays healthy.
I would love 25 to 37 for 310 and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions to be the question mark on my star-studded team. That is the reality for these 49ers. Let's talk about reality in New York right now because they have 11 days between now and next snap. From starting the season 60-0 on the scoreboard to really fighting in the first half of this one. Maybe time catches up with them, travel as well. Tyler Sullivan, who are these Giants? Because they look like a physical bunch, a team that's not going to lay down for anybody. But we've sort of seen both sides of the spectrum already from them through 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, if you looked at the schedule when it first came out and you looked at the Giants' first 3 weeks, I think everybody would say, if you're not from East Rutherford, yeah, probably 1 and 2 makes sense. Dallas, good football team. San Francisco, certainly good. And Arizona, not particularly great, not going to be competitive. So that's about where we thought they were going to be through 3 weeks. But when you actually watch them, specifically on the offensive side of the ball, that's where I have a lot of concerns. Obviously, no Saquon Barkley in this game. That's obviously massive. But there was no real emphasis to push the ball down the field with this team. Defensively, they were still able to pressure the quarterback. Wing Martindale was able to kind of do his thing as we've typically seen. Again, you're just playing a juggernaut in terms of offense with the San Francisco 49ers. To me, it's the biggest question is the offense. And the fact that we saw a Giants team that was downright afraid or unable to push the ball down the field in this game, I had to look it up. I didn't know if Jalen Hyatt was inactive or not because that was a guy last week that at least showed the threat of pushing the ball down the field to keep those safeties honest. And the fact that you didn't even really attempt that in this game, to me, just is mind-boggling.
Exactly, Tyler, because now if you're not going to throw it deep down the field, hey, maybe we could lean on a run game, try to get the run attempts up to where they're going to have to respect the run. Now our play-action pass game is going to work. They had 5 rush attempts in the first half. They finished with 11 total rushes in the game. So they only ran the ball 6 times in the second half. Yes, you're down, but you still have to give them something to respect. And we saw a Giants team just kind of get out-muscled defensively. How many broken tackles did we see 49er wide receivers break through? And that's something that we don't normally see from a Giants defense. Maybe they were getting tired. It's a back-to-back West Coast trip. I understand that. But offensively speaking, we said pregame that Daniel Jones is going to have to hit the layups and have to play small ball to try to supplement their rushing attack, but we didn't expect them to not run the ball completely.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem right now because now you're saying, hey, Saquon is our offense. Even if we have a Darren Waller, even if we have a Jalen Hyatt, we still need to run through Saquon, and that's going to be an issue.
11 rushing attempts for the Giants, their fewest in a game since 1989. Did it at about 2.6 per clip as well. I get it, Saquon's not there, but you're in a ball game in the first half. You got to get the rock on the ground, especially on the road. Let's get back to the home side here in the 49ers. Everything's out in front of them right now. Where are the coachable points, Emory? You know, Kyle Shanahan's going to pick apart the tape. He's going to find some things. If you're trying to be the elite of the elite, which is what they are, what are they coaching up in the weeks to come?
Try to make sure you get off to a great start offensively. We know defense is about reaction, defense is about emotion, defense is about, hey, we're just going to fly to the football and get 11 hats to the ball. But for offensive, from an offensive perspective, it's about, hey, we got to come out on an opening drive like they did, march down the field, but we have to be flawless in our execution. We have to be able to hit those throws at the intermediate level down the field. We got to be better deep ball passers on offense. I think that's the next step for this offense. If they can start connecting deeper down the field, I know our Pete Prisco talked about them living in that middle intermediate area, the 11 to 19-yard area, but if they can start connecting deeper down the field, that's going to be huge for this offense because now what you do is back up that defense. Hey, they can go deep down the field, and what does that do, Joe? That gives more rushing room to Mr. Christian McCaffrey. So that's going to be a big thing for them working on that deep passing game moving forward.
Yeah, I think one of the big things is discipline in this game. I think there was a lot of needless penalties for this San Francisco team in this game that kind of gave New York life at brief moments. Again, this is a blowout, so it's tough to say one team gave the other one life. But still, you look at a part of this game, too. There was a punt interference that gave them New York basically a completely short field. Then there was a defensive pass interference that allowed them to get a touchdown in this game. If you're Kyle Shanahan, that's the stuff you point to. You were able to blow out this team on a Thursday night night. New York right now, not a really cohesive football team on offense. But if you do that against Philadelphia, if you do that to other legitimate playoff Super Bowl contenders, you make those needless penalties to give them short fields to help them extend drives to get touchdowns. That's what's going to have you eliminated and not raising that Lombardi trophy. So for me, it's discipline, keeping those penalties and being like a little bit more firm on that side.
All right, let's end on a positive note. No more positive note. I mean, pick your star here, but Christian McCaffrey, again, over 100 total yards, gets to the end zone. That touchdown streak lives on. Now living alongside the great Jerry Rice in terms of touchdown streaks in franchise history. Emory, when you have a talent such as this that you're featuring in an offense, how does Kyle Shanahan strike that balance of just enough Christian McCaffrey, but not too much, because we got a long way to go?
And that's a great question, because when you think about what they're asking him to do, he's the lead dog in the run game. He does a great job in setting the pace in the short, quick passing game, the outlet passing game, the screen passing game. But the luxury of having someone like a Deebo Samuel is key, because now he can also run the football. You know, he's an intermediate threat over the field, middle of the field, deep ball threat as well. We saw that touchdown today. But when you have other elite weapons that you could turn around and hand the football to, it helps make your job easier as a coach. And when you have a guy that can go the distance without needing the 25 carries that we're used to seeing and used to hang on that number as running backs, he only needs 13 to really get the job done. You're going to be fine moving forward. And I love the fact that he's staying healthy. He's being in the fight. He's playing all throughout the game, which as long as you keep him on the field, it really stresses the defense, because you don't know if he's going to get the ball as a runner or as a receiver.
Yeah, I'm with you. Christian McCaffrey, I know this is a spoiler alert, special player in the NFL. Actually pretty good. You know, you look at what he's been able to do with this team since he's got there. It has just been spectacular, almost to the fact that you have to ask the question of, is he the greatest trade deadline acquisition in NFL history? Because I do think we're getting there. If all of a sudden he is the linchpin to help them get to a Super Bowl title, you have to really wonder. I don't really can think of any other trade deadline acquisitions that made this much of an impact for a team that Christian McCaffrey has since he was acquired by San Francisco. But I'm with you. He has to stay healthy, and I think Kyle Shanahan did a good job in this game, getting Elijah Mitchell involved, kind of alternating series every now and again. And obviously, once the game got out of hand, you get that dude as fast or far away from the field as humanly possible. You let Elijah Mitchell handle the workload at that point, because, again, that's how important Christian McCaffrey is to this team.
I mean, not long ago, it was running back by committee in that San Francisco room. The committee is here, and he goes by CMC. Tyler Sullivan, Emory Hunt, we appreciate you guys, as always, for weighing in here Thursday night in the books. But the conversation always continues on the Pick Six podcast. Our guys breaking it down week by week, day by day. All the latest news and notes out of the league you love. Download, subscribe, and enjoy the Pick Six podcast.